once you understand your efficiency, your quality will also improve, your cost will go down, and it will improve your net profit by 3 to 5%, gross profit by 2 to 3%, it will improve. And once you get these 52 ratios and compare it with other NSE listed companies, you will find out a gap. That gap will indicate your target, so that you can move and understand your efficiency, and gap analysis you can do very easily. So once you do this actually, if you give us your balance sheet and profit and loss ratio, we have got a software which will analyze this and give you 52 various ratios. And if you give for 3 years, we'll plot your own performance for 3 years, so that you can understand and logically decide what is your operational efficiency. And this is a very low-lying fruit, easily done, no cost to you. And the next step, when it will come, will be how do you make your cash flow statement, how do you make your fund flow statement, how will you do your budgeting, and then strategic planning. This is very efficient tool for all MSME. They can do this. Their chartered accountant can also help them. We can do this free of cost. And our idea is to develop Z score. Z score is something which will indicate likely insolvency empirically, so that you will be knowing if you don't change your business model. Like now this COVID has made everybody to look into their own business model, review all the operational things, and then how to fund these 1 or 2 months cash losses, and how to recover over a span of time. All that has given a great opportunity for us to review. And Z score also, now industry who has started in 80s, 90s, they are having a lot of resistance to digitize their account. They think if the tally is there, everything has come. Tally is a basic part of your accounting system, but you need many things to run your business very efficiently. You need your MIS system. You need data mining. See, if you are in 90s, 1890, you have got a lot of data which is available with you, but you do not know how to extract that data and how to use that data. That all will help you to improve your marketing and cost reduction. Our Mr. Modi is saying local to global. So if you want to go to global, we will have to become more cost competitive. And with available resources, I can assure this will reduce your cost without any much this thing by 2 to 3%. And it's a huge thing. 2-3% cost competitiveness in the marketplace gives you a headway for many things.
So in general, I have one question, Mr. Desai ji. Now that
Yes.
Everything is in a standstill, there's no movement on the sales or production. The market is also very damp. What would be your sort of 3 guidelines for us for MSMEs to adhere to strictly?
Next 6 months, we are going to have a very tough headwinds, and conserving the cash will be the basic thing, so that don't take loan immediately without understanding your business model. The government has given 3 lakh crore package for standard assets on 29th February. They can automatically avail that, which is 100% guaranteed by government for principal and interest to the banks. But if you take that loan without proper utilization of that funds, you will be creating a further debt in your books, which will be unbearable 2 years, 3 years later. So before utilizing that facility, review your business plan and draw the cash as per the requirement, because migrant workers have gone back to their villages and they are less likely to come before Diwali, another 4 or 5 months away. If they don't turn up, you will have to take local people, train them. All that cost you will have to factor in your thinking and increasing your production. There will be demand side problem also. Non-essential items are likely to be less utilized by all consumers, like ACs. Even second-hand scooter market, second-hand car market is going to improve considerably because of this social distancing.
I have a question for you, following up on what you said. Now the government has announced a 20 lakh crore package, and
Yeah.
they also mentioned MSME several times. So a lot of people are
Yes.
wondering, what would actually reach the MSMEs. So I would like to understand what is your view on this.
See, government has announced major three things: 3 lakh crore rupees automatic loan to standard asset on 29th February 2020. There I have already said that all the entrepreneurs who are coming in, that they should utilize this money very judiciously, because it is available. You are taking it, you will be making mistakes. Government also announced 20,000 crore subordinate debt for raising equity kind of thing for a stress asset, but no circulars have come out. And there is a very big problem. Subordinate debt, neither banker understand nor the entrepreneur understand. The mechanism is not very clear. Okay, how that money will be given and what is the repayment, whether any charge interest charges has to be given, or it is a sort of equity. This is for NPA account and stress account. Third thing is they have announced 50,000 crore fund of fund scheme. That fund of fund scheme actually will operate through daughter funds. Daughter fund like AIF and other things. So 4 years back, government announced 10,000 crore. That fund are lying with SEEDB, and only 900 or 1,000 crore out of that has been given to AIF. So growth companies getting equity is also going to be difficult. So I do not know the mechanism what they are going to follow for this 50,000 crore fund. Tomorrow, Wednesday, cabinet meeting is there at Delhi. So they may come out with more guidelines or how to operationalize what Nirmala Sitharaman has announced. Then other two, three things, they have announced PF relaxation. It is for 2-3 months. So few units will be taking advantage of it. 200 crore and below tenders, many will not be applicable because we will not be able to reach that kind of thing in MSME. Very few MSME will be able to reach a single tender participation of 200 crores and above, unless until it's a consortium marketing sort of thing.
Okay. So I think what you're suggesting is probably to wait for some more time to really understand what would happen.
See, basically, it is a implementation from government side,
Right.
and bankers' attitude at the branch level is going to be critical. They have not announced a mechanism where, suppose you got something problem with the branch,
Right.
there is no mechanism, third-party mechanism. Naturally, that can go to regional manager and all that. How many entrepreneurs will have that tenacity? All government scheme and all schemes by RBI and all that, they are all in advisory in nature. They are not binding in nature for MSME. So my opinion, see, they have given this 3 lakh crore will go to only 45 lakh unit. So if you take India's total MSME sector, 6.35 crore MSME, if you take 8% of the unit only is going to get these 3 lakh crores. Remaining 92 crores, 92% has to be a self-sufficient or they have to look for their own to survive. That is the, I have written an open letter to Nitin Gadkari also. The 92% you have left out, and these 92% are more, they are generating more jobs per capital invested.
Right. I understand. So there are some interesting questions from the participants. I'll take a few of them.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So there's one Mr. Naveen Pabolu. So he has a wholesale trading business. So he's asking, how can we better manage finances? How can we utilize government schemes to improve business?
Mr. Naveen, good morning to you. Basically, if you are a wholesale business, this thing, and you are preparing your balance sheet at the first, and you try to understand there are 52 various things, whether your inventory is rotating very fast, and there may be, there is a rule of 80-20. 80% of your inventory may be moving, giving you 20% profit. So these kind of things also you will have to look, which will come out from your balance sheet, and you will have to reduce your slow moving inventory. Let that go to somebody else. This is a hard decision, but slow moving inventory, which is a very big drag on the performance of the unit. So this is my advice.
Okay, great.
And the government scheme, now government has, by changing the definition, you may be able to get some benefit. So please try to register on Udyog Aadhaar number. It's a simple online process. So once you get it, and then you will be able to access a lot of government schemes. And I do not know exactly about your business, but as you are wholesalers in what, fast moving consumer item or some grains or something, it depends. So if you are in this grains and other things, a lot of things Nirmala Sitharaman ji has announced in third or fourth stimulus package. You have to look into and find out how it is applicable to you, because that will be very critical in supply chain.
Correct.
Okay.
So one, Mr. Subbarao Venkata Palapatti is an interesting question. He's asking, now that we have an opportunity against China, and how will we beat Chinese products? What should the Indian government do to enable growth for us to be able to actually overcome the Chinese market?
Very good question, Mr. Subbarao. See, first thing is, I generally tell my all customers or all clients, apna hath Jagannath. Means you strengthen your business, automatically you will become competitive, and India has got a large market. You can become tier 2, tier 3 suppliers to ancillary units when the large investment comes. See, 20, 30 years back, Maruti has come. And when Maruti has come, the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers has changed the ecosystem of ancillary. And because of that, a lot of foreign cars have come. Similar thing is going to happen. Yes, China, we will not be able to beat immediately. But if in 10 years' time or 5 years' time, with this crisis of COVID, and the announcement made by this Nirmala Sitharaman ji is indicating survival for fittest. That is the indication which she is giving, or the Modi is giving. In 3 to 5 years, we'll have to strengthen our own internal systems. And then definitely China will be able to beat, because China labor cost is increasing tremendously. And India has got a lot of leverage.
Right. So
Yeah,
there's one actually comment from Mr. Shami Kapoor ji saying that he says that you should help the government of India as an MSME advisor for the benefit of all the MSME sectors. So do you have any plans to be part of any of the discussions going on?
as it is, we are trying, Sami Kapoorji, thank you. We are trying to get into government at Delhi, and more particularly, UK Sina committee has given recommendation for revival of Sikh MSME unit, and probably at that end where I am very convinced that kind of funding will not revive the unit. Equity kind of funding is needed. How to raise the equity, whether we can encourage a private funding system or the government-backed funding system, or government can start and private can copy in or PPP model. Various things we can do at government this thing. And the changes happened recently in Ministry of MSME is an indication that Mr. Modi is very serious to promote MSME culture in India. That is why a senior person from PMO's office has become Secretary Industry. And a lot of changes are happening. Development Commissioner also has been changed. So a lot of corrections are likely to come. More quicker decision making is going to come. That is my opinion.
Right. But do you think
Thank
they're
you,
going
Sami
to
Kapoorji.
move as quickly as required? Because now the situation is very alarming. We need action like in the next month, not really wait for 6 months for action to take place. Because
See, if you see the editorials and other contents for business magazines and TV channels, and yesterday's stock market not reacting positively, going 1,000 point down, is a
yeah,
clear indication that MSME sector per se requires a cash in hand kind of package at least for 4 months. Some estimate says the MSME labor payment per month is all over India is about 2 lakh crores. So government should give that 3 or 4 months kind of money, like what they have given to below poverty line people. Kishan, what is that? First package of 1,70,000 crore. They have to come out with that kind of package for MSME. Otherwise, my estimate is 50% of the MSME units who are depending on informal sector for finance may disappear within next 6 months.
right.
Informal finance, where they are not having, they have taken money from saukars and things like that. They will
Right.
disappear in next 6 months.
So now that the government is offering no, without a guarantee loan, do you think these people in informal can actually access this? Can they come out and
Uh,
apply for these loans?
See, given this government has given only to the standard assets on 29th February. So, and that is also 20% of that loan liability on that day. That is what they have given. And government or large bank like State Bank of India has to come out. There is a lot of discussion going on between government, Reserve Bank, and bankers. Actually, Indian Bank Association has submitted a proposal to extend this NPA norms to from 90 days to 180 days, and some soft support, all that. But this has not yet been formalized. Even a discussion is going on at high level for creating a bad bank for 500 crores and above. But all that may not see the light of the day, because this government seems to be depending more on liquidity. Modi said land, law, labor, and liquidity. Liquidity is not in government's hand. Liquidity is in RBI hand. They have taken enough proactive step to pump in about 6 to 7 lakh crores in the market, but they are parking that money with Reserve Bank instead of giving it to retail, MSME, corporate clients. NBFC also, what has been given, guaranteed by Government of India, only A-rated NBFC are getting access to that. So a lot of things are likely to happen, but ultimately government will have to pump in money in MSME sector directly rather than this indirect support they have extended.
Right. And do you see any chance of that happening
Next
this year?
question.
Yeah. I'm just saying, do you see a chance of that happening this year?
See, see that the underline is government is ready to listen, but MSME sector does not have a strong lobby.
Right.
And unless until that strong lobby is there, more particularly for weaker unit or NPA units, government will not get a feedback from ground realities, and ground is very large. That message will not go to government's ear. So I do not see any immediate this thing to immediate light of the day.
Right. So there is one question from Kanaka Sitala. The question is, now that raw materials, if they have to come from another state, that has been the case for many MSMEs. Now they want to know what would be the future of that, because now everything has been interstate communication is not there. What would be the impact of that, and when do you think things will open up?
See, under lockdown 4, lot of interstate transport has been permitted, but supply chain problems will be remaining. Earlier kind of credits and other things will not. Earlier you may be getting credit, but now those suppliers will say you pay and take this money. That kind of things will be happening. But this transportation problem will not be there as it is.
Right. So there is one question on the SME IPO.
Yeah.
From, Yashashvi. So they're asking, do you foresee this happening in the near future?
SME IPOs.
Yes.
SME IPOs are a regular feature, and about 800 or 900 companies are listed on both BSE as well as NSE platform. And this activity plus merger and acquisition in SME is going to increase. There are a lot of resistance from the entrepreneur's mind frame. They do not want to lose control, which is not a right thing. They have got a wrong perception. High amount of training is required to open up these people's mind. Okay, it is creating a value rather than destroying the value. Control is always not a good thing. Corporate governance also will come because of this listing or preparing for listing. And generally preparing for listing depends on where you are there. It will take a year to 3 years for an IPO to come, unless until you are ready, because account of MSME sectors, uh, because of the high taxation earlier, they have not still organized in the way where it is more dependable. So that account with GST and all other things coming in, reliability of account will increase. So more number of IPOs in next 2 3 years will come, and see asset class which are coming, asset class changes are happening. So I see a reasonably good future for mutual fund schemes coming out for particularly this kind of IPOs, high risk, high return kind of thing in next 2 to 3 years. There is a potentiality. Thank you,
Right.
Yashasvi.
Right. So there's an interesting question from Mr. Firdaus Khan. He's asking, what is the vision of SME analytics? He's academic, and then he's saying, he's alarming.
See, it is C is Firdaus Khan is a good friend. See, Firdaus, you are working on a behavioral pattern of women entrepreneurs. You are writing, I think, your thesis on that subject. See, SME analytics future, if we want to develop a Z score where Professor Atman in 1960 he developed, it was a corporate sector, a lot of research has been going on. Now I want to add a behavioral or psychological factor in this formula, so that their score, they will have to, it should give a physical a reflection of their mindset in the business. Today, none of the MSME units are aware of value of reputation management, because nobody has taught them reputation management as a part. They don't understand their own personal this thing, uh, personal this thing comes into the performance. So that has to be slowly changed. It will happen.
Okay, great. And if a business or an MSME wants to seek your help now, what would you offer them? They want to know how is SME Analytics going to help them in this situation?
First thing is, if they can give their balance sheet and other things, we are giving that ratio analysis free of cost. That is immediately where we'll give our recommendation, okay, which are the things they have to look into, and we can talk to them one-to-one. Even Jivan's company also can do that, because a lot of MSME will be requiring a lot of counseling at this particular moment because of COVID. They need somebody to fall back on, and people like us with my 45 years entrepreneur experience and 5 years in this field, or Jivan being from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, they can give a lot of patient hearing to your dilemmas, and we can give you various possible solutions. That much we can do.
Right. Great. So there's one question from Mr. Srihari Madula. He's asking, what is the projection for electronics manufacturing industry in India during this time? Any specific incentives for the electronics industry?
Government of India has come out with 65,000 crore, somewhere I read, for electronic cluster, and they want to develop a lot of things in Make in India. So definitely a lot of incentives are made available for electronic industry, and contract manufacturing is going to grow in both electronics and pharma sector. I do not know what is your situation, Mr. Srihari, at this moment, but next 5 years, a lot of opportunities will be there for electronic industry.
All right, great. And Mr. Suri Ramu is asking a question. Post-corona, what assistance is provided to stressed MSMEs without collateral?
Thank you, Mr. Ramu. Government has announced 20,000 crore of fund for subordinate debt. And they said that they will be looking into people who may be dealing with State Bank of India or the dynamic bank like Bank of Baroda or something. There will be a possibility, but if your case is very old and thing like that, it may be difficult. But bankers are, today morning also I had a discussion with a senior banker who has retired from leading bank. He also says that government has given them a lot of targets. Under that, revival also is one of the things which will be getting promoted, but it goes with one-to-one equation with your banker. That is what is killing our MSME sector for many years.
Okay.
I hope, Mr. Ramu, I have answered your question.
Sure. I think if he wants to know further, probably Mr. Ramu, please contact Mr. Desai on the number available there, and he'll be able to walk you through more information. Right. And there's one question from Ms. Soumya Mishra, and she has worked extensively in the MSME credit. The question is whether raising a default of 1 crore under IBC will help MSMEs.
Soumya, I would like to talk to you one to one because of your IIM Ahmedabad this thing, and one to one I will discuss with you this 1 lakh to 1 crore default till it becomes an ordinance. Nothing can be said. Sitaraman has announced. You also know very well. Okay, 1 lakh to 1 crore default is at this moment till the ordinance come. You remember in 2020 budget also Nirmala Sitharaman announced and no further NPA will be declared and all that. The RBI did not give that supporting circular. And you being a banker to SME, you will be in dilemma. Once paper and other things discuss that Nirmala Sitharaman says, and you don't have a circular from RBI, what do you do? So this kind of challenges you have faced.
Okay,
Am I
great.
right? Yeah, Soumya.
Okay, great. And there's one question from Mr. K. Nandishwar. He's asking, what is the position of retail sector, especially ready-made clothing?
I'm not very sure whether he is a manufacturer or he is a retailer. See, everybody will have to reduce the cost continuously to survive. Survival for fittest in 3 years to 4 years time will be the mantra. All the privatization what Mr. Modi is trying to do is indicating that competition is going to increase, and you have to be mentally prepared to look to your cost structure continuous basis. That is what I can say at this moment.
Right. So Mr. Narayan Rao has a question about pressure should be put on the CPSUs to pay interest on overdue payments. What do you think, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Narayan Rao. See, if you ask for there is a provision for charging interest, but if we start asking interest from anybody, PSU or a good corporate this thing, we are likely to lose business. So MSME units does not have a strength. They do not have any unique product. If they don't supply to that PSU, the production will stop. And there are 100 people in the line. So no MSME, even they don't want to go to facilitation center to go against unless until the relation is totally destroyed. So very few cases are going to this interest. Legally, they have to pay, but MSME does not have what is that strength to fight with PSU and this thing without losing further business.
Right. So I think we have another 10 minutes before we end this session. So I think we would like to play a small video on the SME analytics before we wrap this up.
Okay.
Guruji, I have a question. How can one businessman avail loans from bankers? Are you talking about the MSME sector? Yes, Guruji.
And finally, the most important concern is how to forecast their revenue and expenses while setting yearly targets.
See, most small businessmen do not prepare, read, understand, or analyze their profit and loss account. They think this document is required mainly by big companies and it is not necessary for small businesses.
Okay.
But as business grows year on year, the issue for most businessmen is how can one determine their income tax obligation and other statutory obligations?
So what actually they need to do to solve this problem?
A profit and loss account is not only the statement of income and expense, but it also enables you to increase your earnings by reducing unnecessary expenses and increasing incomes by ratio analysis. Can you please explain in details the purpose it solves? Sure. See, the profit and loss account provides information about an enterprise income and expenses which result in net profit and loss. It helps a businessman to evaluate the performance of an enterprise and provides a basis for forecasting future performance. It also provides valuable information required by a banker while sanctioning a loan. The profit and loss account describes different business activities such as revenues and expenses, particularly useful in assessing the risk of not achieving certain level of income in the future. It also provides information required to determine tax obligations. Now I clearly understand the purpose of it, but can you explain the process of doing profit and loss account in brief? Are you asking about the steps? Yes, Guruji. I can explain it in 5 easy steps. Step 1. Keep clean records. You have to have a clear-cut record of how much money is coming into and going out of your operations. Step 2. Select the time period. Before you begin preparing your P&L statement, you first have to ascertain which period of time you will be looking into. In general, it is from 1st April to 31st March. Step 3. Find your revenue. Revenue comes from the total amount of money that your business has taken in from its various endeavors. In general, your revenue will come from the sales of products or services. Step 4. Find your expenses. Every little things you have spent money on for your business during the period of time you have selected needs to be taken into account. These are your expenses. You might have to consider other factors as well, like return or refunds, credit rate and debit notes, provisions if any. Step 5. Find your profit number. Profit is derived from revenue minus expenses. So calculate that to determine your result. If you would like to, you can also determine your net income, which is your income after tax. Now it is absolutely clear.
But Guruji, why does balance sheet come in between?
Only through the balance sheet you will be able to derive the assets and liabilities.
It is difficult to understand what you are saying, Guruji. Could you please explain and make it simple?
Okay, listen carefully to the story of Bill Gates, one of the richest men in the world. Bill Gates and Paul Allen are two close friends.
Paul, I have completed my computer engineering in Howard University.
That's great. Then what are your future plans?
I'm thinking of starting a software company. Would you like to partner with me?
Sure, I'm glad you came to me. What do you think we should name the company?
I'm thinking of it as Microsoft.
Great name. Let's go with that. How about we invest $20,000 each and take the shares equally?
Sure, I would like to do some research to create a software which is user-friendly.
Okay, then I will help you in that.
Look, Paul, I have made the software which is user-friendly.
Wow, this is great. Let's get patent rights for this so that no one else can steal it.
Okay, then we will get the patent rights and start selling it.
I believe it would be better if we have our own office and improvise on stuff. Let us take a loan of about $50,000.
That's the great idea. Let's go ahead with that.
Once we have our own building, we need equipment too.
Let's go with getting the equipment on credit.
Good idea. We can pay back once we make profits.
Now that we are earning profits, I am curious about the overall picture of our company. Let's hire a finance manager for this task.
This is Jennifer. I hired him after multiple interviews for the finance post.
Jennifer, prepare a balance sheet for the company. I am curious about the numbers.
Sure, sir. The balance sheet consists of assets, liabilities, and equity. It states that assets is equal to liabilities plus equity.
What are assets?
Assets are current assets plus non-current assets. Current assets consist of cash, accounts receivables, inventory.
Then what are non-current assets?
Non-current assets consist of tangible and intangible assets. Tangible assets are the ones which are physical, such as plant, property, and equipment. This building and equipment comes under this. Whereas The intangible assets are non-physical assets, such as patents, license, and secret formulas.
So the patents and license that we have for our Microsoft software comes under intangible assets.
Yes, sir, you are right.
What about the liabilities?
Liabilities are what the company owes, which is current liabilities plus non-current liabilities.
Then what are current and non-current liabilities?
The current liabilities are the accounts payable, which is the money owed to the suppliers when purchased through credit, current debt, and current portion of long-term debt. Excluding the current portion of long-term debt and the bonds payable is the non-current liabilities.
Oh, then what is shareholders equity?
Equity is the addition of share capital and retained earnings.
What are they?
Share capital is the value of funds that shareholders have invested in the company when the company is found. In your case, it is the amount both of you invested in the company.
And what is retained earnings?
It is the profit that the company generated over time. This can either be remained in the company or shared as dividends. All this together make the balance sheet.
Great! I got a clear idea what makes a balance sheet.
Now, sir, we can write the balance sheet for our company using the information that we have.
Okay, Guruji.
Now we completely understand what makes a balance sheet.
Thank you.